Hello and welcome to another tarot reading from me. So today's topic is going to be on what makes you unforgettable. This is a topic that has been requested by a viewer. So as usual, I recommend that you do suggest topics that you are curious about because I do take them into account in the comment section of any of my videos or in the community posts, wherever you feel comfortable. All right. Also, as an introduction, I will mention that as usual, I have chosen the crystals intuitively. I have meditated upon the question beforehand and basically asked Spirit which crystals I should choose for this reading. And these are the crystals that came out in this particular order. This is for those of you who would like to choose with just crystals, but I'm also going to be choosing an oracle card later for those who would also like to choose with an oracle card. So pile number 1, you have the black onyx crystal. Pile number 2, you have the iolite crystal. Pile number 3, you have the ruby zoisite crystal. Pile number 4, you have the milky quartz crystal. All right, trying to get it to focus, but it doesn't really want to focus. Okay, this is as good as it gets. So pile number 4, this is your option. Okay, so as usual, my recommendation is that you pause the video if you need more time to decide. Take some moments to meditate upon the question. You can address it to a higher power, any kind of spiritual guide that you follow, or to your higher self, whatever you feel comfortable with. Keep your eyes closed while meditating upon the question. Take some deep breaths. Let your mind go blank. Exhale longer than you inhale. That will help center you and calm you down. And then open your eyes and choose the first crystal that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking it. Do not go by, conscious preferences based on colors or shapes or anything like that. So it has to come from for me, it comes from the stomach, but to each their own. So it has to be like an intuitive feeling, all right? A gut feeling or just the first thing that stands out to you. So that's what I wanted to say. Also, before I sign off, don't forget to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It is the easiest way to support me and it is free. Also, consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a tarot reading. And please comment in the comment section with anything you would like to add. All right, thank you, and I will see you at your reading. All right, so this is going to be the card selection phase for each crystal. Spirit, tell me for pile number 1, the people who chose the black onyx crystal, what makes them unforgettable to others? All right. Tell me about pile number 2, the people who chose the iolite, what makes them unforgettable? Tell me for pile number 3, the people who chose the ruby zoisite, what makes them unforgettable? All right, pile number 4, this one feels like coming out. All right, let's see. We have, wow, look at this. Pile number 1, you have light. I should hold it up closer in case you want to see it. Actually, if I can. Okay, so pile number 1. All right. Pile number 2, you have this with desolate. Interesting how the colors are matching. All right, pile number 3, you have this with nest. Pile number 4, you have inner garden. Okay, this is from the Wild Child Tarot deck. All right, trying to fix them up a little bit. All right, so this is for those of you who would like to choose with a crystal as well as an oracle card. These are the cards that came out for you. So pile number 1, you have this card over here and or this onyx, this black onyx crystal. Pile number 2, you have this card over here and or this iolite crystal. Pile number 3, you have this card over here and or this ruby zoisite crystal. Pile number 4, you have this card over here and or this milky quartz crystal. All right, so these are your options. You can pause the video if you need more time to decide. Once again, my recommendation is that you take some moments to meditate upon the question. Take some deep breaths while exhaling longer than you inhale. That will help center you and calm you down. Just allow your mind to go blank for a few seconds, and then once you have centered and calmed down, open your eyes and choose the first pile that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking it. And if you feel drawn to more than one pile, you are free to watch several or even all of them and just take whichever messages resonate. Before I sign off, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done so already, it is the easiest way to support me and it is free. And also consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to see when I will upload a new tarot reading. Also, please comment in the comment section with any feedback you would like to give and or any topics that you have as suggestions for me to cover in future videos. Thank you, and I will see you at your reading. So welcome pile number 1. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here with the number 24, sorry. And light and or this black onyx crystal. So I'm going to shuffle and select the cards right now. If you want to skip this phase, I'm going to add timestamps. You can skip directly to the reading. All right, so let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the onyx crystal. What makes them unforgettable? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? We have the Fool. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable, Spirit? Yeah, I think that's enough. The 8 of Pentacles, the 2 of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the 7 of Cups. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? The people who chose the onyx crystal, what makes them unforgettable, Spirit? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? Tell me, Spirit. King of Swords, Ace of Swords, Justice. I'm not surprised that you got Justice. Knight of Wands twice underneath the Knight of Wands. Wait, let me try to, yeah, because you can, so you can see the cards. Okay, and we have 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. All right, let's get some oracle cards. Spirit, tell me for pile number 1, the people who chose the black onyx crystal, what makes them unforgettable in the eyes of other people? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable in the eyes of other people? So let's see. We have culmination of vision, number 35. And we have lizard regeneration. As a survivor, you are unparalleled. No matter what happens, you can adapt. Embrace your transformation. Put on your new cloak. You are a master of regeneration. So I'm getting multiple strong energies here for you, pile number 1. Obviously, there's a very strong heart chakra energy because the first card that came out is light with number 24, which boils down to a number 6 in numerology, which is ruled by Venus. So there's a lot of heart chakra energy. You also have the Knight of Wands coming out twice here. So that's, again, more fire. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you had a strong Sun, 5th house, Leo energy, or prominent placements in the nakshatras ruled by the Sun, which are Kritika, Uttara Falguni, and Uttara Ashadha. You also have the Fool card here that came out. So again, this suggests like an open heart energy. You also have a lot of cups. So the predominant energy is actually cups here, which shows water as well. So you have an interesting balance of energies. The lizard and the number 8 here of culmination of vision also gives me a pretty strong Saturnian energy, maybe a bit of Scorpio, because there's a topic of transformation and regeneration. And with the Justice and the 2 of Cups, I wouldn't be surprised if many of you have prominent Libra placements. If not, also, again, could be a strong Venus placement, because there's an energy of fairness and diplomacy here. You come across as a person who, first of all, the culmination of vision says it all. You also have the 10 of Pentacles here. So I feel that what people see you as, like what makes you most unforgettable, is the fact that you have a very strong drive. You come across as a person who knows where they're going. Other people perceive you as a very powerful presence. So it's like, but at the same time, it's like you're not someone who is egomaniacal and, you know, thinks that you're the center of the universe. There's a great deal of emotional maturity here and understanding of other people. I feel like most people see you as a pretty wise individual, someone who has a lot of emotional intelligence. There's a lot of water energy. That's mainly why I'm saying this. You have the Knight of Cups, you have the Queen of Cups, you have the 2 of Cups. So you come across as someone who is a very balanced individual. The 2 of Cups, also, and with the Ace of Swords underneath, makes me think of someone who's very romantic. I feel like a lot of people could be projecting their romantic fantasies on you. You could be coming across as someone who is, you know, pretty desirable. There's a lot of fire energy. A lot of the Knight of Wands also makes you come across as very passionate. The heart chakra as well. I think most people who look at you assume that you're an extremely passionate person, not just with respect to everyday life, but even when it comes to relationships, intimate moments, and so on. So again, this is how you come across. It may or may not actually be how you feel deep down, but it could be that with these energies, people project their desires and their passions on you. You do also have the 7 of Cups, which kind of, you know, reinforces the energy of projection here. Actually, I'm going to clarify this. Wait a second. Please clarify the 5 of Swords, Spirit. Please clarify the 5 of Swords. I'm curious. All right, so we have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, this is pretty much falling hand in hand with what I wanted to say about the regeneration topic. So I feel like people see you as someone who has the ability to rise from the ashes. You may actually have been someone that has gone through a lot of ups and downs, and people have noticed that. I feel like they see you as someone who always gets back up, not back down, after you've been knocked down, as in after every failure or something, you always find the strength to recover. And they also see you as someone who is extremely career driven, to be fair, because there's like this 8 of Pentacles, there's this 10 of Pentacles. And I feel like for this pile especially, you might actually have big dreams when it comes to artistic topics and intuitive topics. So again, you could be someone who's even into tarot, astrology. You could be into, like, not just be into, but you might actually, maybe you have like your own channel or something on YouTube, or you're doing this as some kind of a side hustle or a profession, because this is a kind of energy that shows you're someone who plans on achieving through your creative and intuitive abilities. So you may have some kind of a long-term vision. You come across as someone who has a long-term vision, maybe of a career in some kind of an intuitive profession, something to do with healing potentially. So you could also be like a psychotherapist, for instance, especially when it comes to like healing emotions, you know, healing the soul. But then it could also be anything creative, you know, any kind of creative artistic project. So I feel like people see you as someone who puts your heart and soul into your passion projects, basically. I feel like people also just see you as a very kind-hearted person, irrespective of what you may try to project on the surface or whatever your poker face says. Maybe some of you have a poker face, maybe others don't. But I feel like most people just see you as a very kind-hearted person. I wouldn't be surprised if you're the kind of person that others want to share their secrets with, like they feel safe with you. And they also just, probably because they trust your judgment, your intuition, your maturity, they feel like you're the kind of person that would understand them, that they can trust with their secrets and their vulnerabilities. You probably also have a very creative way of communicating. There's something about the style of communication, maybe your voice, that comes across as particularly attractive. I feel like for some of you, it could be that you're very clever, you're very witty. You might also have some kind of an artistic way of expressing yourself, either through the spoken word or through, you know, writing, music, any kind of means of communication, maybe even through other art forms like dancing and painting or something. But I'm mainly actually thinking for most of you, it's about using your voice, you know? So either you have like this very quick-witted way of talking, or you could be someone who just has a very pleasant voice, or it could be both things at the same time. You also have this very kind of no-nonsense attitude about you, like a no-nonsense energy that makes people feel like you're not someone that can be fooled. And you're pretty much like, you give off this energy of like, what you see is what you get, basically. This is really specific, but maybe some of you have been kind of a jack of all trades, and people have seen you maybe wandering around from one profession to another, or you know, maybe you've changed your degrees a lot, or maybe you have jumped around from one profession to another, one job to another, and eventually kind of bounce back from that, or like started to find your own path. So I feel like, again, this could be something that is more specific for some of you. People really admire that. Like, they have seen the struggles and the ups and downs, and they have seen you finally kind of reach a point where you're finding your place with respect to your professional world, professional life. You also come across as very hardworking. And yeah, you have some kind of intellectual skill. So people also definitely admire your intellect, your ability to communicate, your knowledge, basically. And I feel like some of you have really specific skills. Like maybe you have a very specific skill set that people admire. Like maybe you have, I don't know, this could be anything from maybe you're a programmer, maybe you're a lawyer, But like something about maybe your professional life, your career really stands out. Yeah, so I feel like people definitely see the fact that your intentions are pure, but at the same time you're not blinded by emotions. This is why like you have this very strong balance between your head and your heart basically. People can trust you to make logical decisions, to have objectivity in assessing a situation, even though you are at your core a very compassionate person, a very understanding person. So just because you have like a deep amount of empathy and understanding of human nature doesn't mean that you allow others to walk over you or that you are easily fooled, basically. And I also feel like a lot of people would probably see you as someone who has a lot of romantic options. So it could be that your attractiveness also adds to that, but I'm going to see more with the astrological cards. Let me see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the black onyx. What makes them unforgettable, Spirit? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? Okay, we have Mars, drive and power. Sextile, chance and opportunity. Mercury, mind and speech. Yep, that's a confirmation. We have Cancer, the caring. That makes sense with all the cups. And we have Gemini, the communicative. So more of the Mercury energy. Right, so we do have some confirmations and also some extra information here. The Mars energy does kind of confirm what I was talking about with potential Capricorn, Scorpio energy. So I feel like a lot of people see you as very driven. This also shows that you have like a nice balance of masculine and feminine qualities. So it is again kind of a confirmation of what I was talking about. I feel like your physical body could be attractive and could really stand out, but it goes beyond the physical. It's not just the physical body, it's your overall energy. Like I said, your presence. Like you just have this very strong energy that other people notice. And with the sextile, again, I feel like you're someone who has original ideas. Like you have an easy flow of like creative ideas, and maybe you come across as someone who's very original. That's pretty much how what the sextile energy makes me think of. Like you could come up with very original perspectives, or again you could be really funny and witty. This is also with the Mercury is kind of confirmed here. And again with Mercury, like I said, confirmation that your intellect is standing out. Other people notice how smart you are. And with Mercury, you also stand out because of your youthfulness, your curiosity, your energy that is sometimes a little bit childlike. You probably still have the ability to get enthusiastic about small things, the little pleasures of life. Maybe like people admire the way you throw yourself into your interests, into your hobbies. And with Cancer, the caring, there's also a strong feminine side. So with the Mars and the Cancer energy showing up strongly here, this definitely shows that people see you as this kind of protective individual. So you might be, on the one hand, self-protected, someone who doesn't open up easily. But on the other hand, you also come across as someone who's very protective of the people they care about. Maybe people assume that about you, or they see you dealing with people you care about and they like the way that you handle things. Maybe you're sometimes someone who steps up in protecting others who are in a weaker position. Maybe you even do charity work. You know, that could be one example. Um, Another thing is, especially if you're a woman, it's like you come across as someone who could be a good mother. But even if you're a man, the crab, the Cancer energy, makes you come across as someone who can be a bit of a homebody. So, but again, since you have both the Mars and the Cancer, I feel like some of you have this like interesting energy of like on the one hand having a warrior spirit, fighter spirit. Um I was getting a song from Johnny Bravo in my head right now. um it makes me think of just thinking of the Mars Cancer energy together. There was that episode in Johnny Bravo where he's singing, I can bring home the bacon, I can even cook. And then he goes on to say, I don't know, I can make some kind of sandwich or something. Um, for those of you who don't know, Johnny Bravo was this cartoon from the 90s that is basically this like narcissistic kind of person who is, in love with himself and kind of sounds like Elvis. And I think they did that on purpose. Anyway, but that's kind of the energy that I'm getting here. So like you're someone who could go out there, hunt, and like handle a tough situation, and you can make the money, but then you can also come home and be, a homebody who takes care of the house, takes care of the people in your family, can be very nurturing. Maybe you're also a good cook. So for those of you who, I don't know, maybe like showcase this through social media or something, that could be a confirmation that people really admire that about you. And the Gemini, again, so very strong Mercury energy overall. So the Gemini, again, would reinforce that you come across as youthful and intelligent. Some of you, again, could also be a bit of a social butterfly. But the social butterfly thing is not a given for everyone in this group. Like some of you could be more introverted. In any case, also with the Cancer and the Gemini and the Mercury, there's a lot of creative, imaginative communication and speaking again. So yeah, pretty much this is what I get. So let me get some more markers. Let me get the Astro dice first. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What do people find unforgettable about pile number 1? The people who chose the black onyx. All right, so we have Saturn as well. So this is a pretty strong. Wait, no, it's not Saturn. Oh my God. I think it was Saturn. Wasn't it Saturn? Yeah, I think I moved it. It was Saturn. So the Saturn energy makes you basically, confirms what I said originally, that it makes you also come across as pretty tough, kind of a go-getter, someone who has a long-term plan for your life and for your career especially. So someone who can weather a tough storm. We also have Libra, strong confirmation of the Venus energy. So like I said, you probably come across as fair. It's also interesting that Saturn is exalted in Libra. So, and Saturn is the planet of career and hard work. We also have the number 7 here, which makes me think of the 7th house, which is the house of marriage, and more Libra energy because Libra is the 7th sign. So this again kind of makes me think that a lot of people project on you. They might think that you're an ideal romantic partner. Yeah, romantically. This explains the 2 of Cups energy. So I feel like a lot of people see you as like the perfect balance of hardworking and emotional and romantic all in one, basically. Also very, very hardworking, very disciplined. But it's not like you're all, all work and no play. It's like you also know how to have fun, how to relax. But they definitely see that there's a lot of determination in your character and also a lot of fairness. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of people admire about you. So, let me get some charms. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the black onyx. What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? What makes pile number 1 unforgettable? Okay, that's a lot. So we have a lot to unpack. Oh my God, look at this. We have 4 swords. 4 swords that came out in the charms. So I would be surprised if we don't get some Kritika energy for this pile when I get the handwritten astrological notes. But in any case, with the 4 swords, definitely this Mars energy is coming through of you being very determined, potentially aggressive sometimes. But again, it makes me think of someone who just comes across as pretty tough, you know, pretty tough. Someone who will not back down from an obstacle, maybe even a confrontation. You know, like you're definitely not someone who is going to pull punches also. And we also have the playfulness of the dolphins. To me, this is again more Mercury energy. There's something youthful and energetic about you. And yeah, you probably look like you're someone who's fun, like you know how to have fun and to socialize and stuff. And it's coming out twice. We also have the wagon. To me, this is like the Pentacles energy. The wagon makes me think of, you know, Taurus, Capricorn energy. So like someone who works hard again. Kind of a confirmation. We also have the soccer ball or the football ball, however you want to call it, with the shoe. So again, I see this as a confirmation of the Mars energy, that some of you might come across as athletic. If you are particularly involved in sports, people admire this about you. Yeah, or they, again, it could just be a confirmation that they admire your body. We have the cross over here, which does not surprise me with the Saturn energy, because Saturn rules organized religions. So, I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be that you are Christian. Of course, you could be in any organized religion. But I think that people admire your faith. It's like, on the one hand, they could admire your faith. And on the other hand, this could mean that they admire your purity of heart in a way. You know, like someone who, like you're someone who just, you know, knows that you are protected. Like you might have some kind of a sense of inner faith about you that things are going to work out. We also have this, which is, I would say that this looks like a baby's thing. I don't know what to call it. You know what I mean? It's like the thing that babies use, or it could be one of those spinning things, but I think it's a baby's thing. Like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the, you know, the things that babies chew on. So to me, honestly, this makes me think again of the Cancer energy. So I feel like people see you as someone who would make a good parent, like someone who's nurturing and caring. But at the same time, it also shows that you yourself can have a very childlike energy. We have a lot of flowers here. So we have a rose. Oh, yeah. I mean, rose, and we have another flower. Let's see, any other flowers here? This one is a flower as well. So the rose and the flowers makes me think of physical beauty. So I definitely think that your physical body stands out, your beauty stands out. And I feel like, again, there's a message of innocence here. There's like a message of a pure energy here that, you know, comes from within. Like people like your energy, something radiates about you. We also have this crown that says princess on it. I don't know if you can see. It says princess. All right, you're gonna need to take my word for it. So this makes me think that some people might think that you are, you could be like, I feel like some people might think that you come from like a good background, good breeding, quote unquote. But even if that's not the case, you come across as someone who's pretty refined, and sometimes you could come across as a little bit spoiled, to be honest. Makes me think of the character from Clueless. I don't remember what her name was. But, you know, the character played by Alicia Silverstone back in the 90s, who's kind of a little princess. Or you can think of Johnny Bravo. You know, someone who's like, someone who has a healthy amount of self-love, let me put it like that. Oh, I think her name was Cher. I just remember. I think it was Cher, right? The character of Alicia Silverstone in Clueless. I'm not 100% sure, though. We also have the tree, which makes me think of the tree of knowledge, honestly. And we have this thing, which is like a ring. In this context, since we also have the 7th house, it really makes me think of a wedding ring, or it makes me think of a wreath. So, and also with the tree and the wreath or / ring, depending on how you read it, I feel like some of you could be very connected to nature. People might admire the fact that you like nature, that you like animals. They could also see you as an ideal romantic partner for long-term relationships with the ring. This is real specific, but some of you could be into things like Wicca, you know. So if that's the case, like, people notice that about you and they admire it. We also have an elephant, which means like some of you could have placements in Revati or Bharani nakshatras, which are, you know, associated to the animal of the elephant. But then I also see this as like you being seen as someone who has their feet firmly planted on the ground, someone who is not easily shaken up, someone who's basically like determined. Makes me think of slow and steady wins the race, and also makes me think of just a huge amount of inertia, you know, like someone who is very difficult to stop once they get going on something. We also have this sign, which is ... Again, this makes me think that some people really find you very impressive. Makes me think of, like, you know, how when someone is really impressed, they take a moment of silence. So there could be this feeling of, I'm getting Take My Breath Away, the song from Top Gun from the 80s. This is, it's playing in my head right now. Anyway, this is what it makes me think, though. It could be like for some people, you are just completely blown away by you. Like, especially the kind of people that project their romantic fantasies on you, you know. It's like, for some people, I feel like, honestly, with this pile, though, you're not for everyone, you know, like, but it's like some people will find you like absolutely stunning and mind-blowing and amazing, right? And those people, they're going to have a take my breath away moment when they see you, you know. And then we have this hand, which makes me think that literally your hands could be standing out, or if you have any tattoos or anything that is traditional, you know, like in your clothing style or the way you present yourself, it could be part of what makes you stand out and makes people find you very impressive and unforgettable. All right. So let me get the handwritten astrological notes. Let's clear things out a little bit. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, Spirit, what makes pile number 1 unforgettable? Tell me, Spirit, what makes pile number 1 unforgettable? I fail. That's enough. So let's see. We have Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter came out as well. We have, so this is a planet of optimism and faith. Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. Okay. We also have Capricorn, explains the 10 of Pentacles. So Capricorn is associated with career, climbing the social ladder. We have Virgo, more pentacles, so someone who is attentive to details, very rational. It's also ruled by Mercury. So there's a confirmation. We have Venus, strong confirmation of the Venus energy that I was talking about. So yeah. And Cancer again, so very feminine. A lot of feminine energy, but you also have a good amount of masculine as well. And we have Mars again. Wow, strong confirmations. Really strong confirmation. So Mars coming out twice and Cancer coming out twice. And then you also have Venus, which is something that I talked about initially. We have, okay, Ardra falling in Gemini, which is ruled by Rahu. I'm not surprised because this nakshatra is connected to brilliant ideas. Dhanishta, I'm not surprised, ruled by Mars, because I did say that your body stands out. So Dhanishta is known for having a really nice body, generally. We have Swati, which falls in Libra, more confirmations, ruled by Rahu. And we have Pushya, which falls in Cancer, more confirmations, ruled by Saturn. And last but not least, we have Punarvasa, which is ruled by Jupiter. All right, falls in Gemini and Cancer. All right, so we do not have Kritika. I'm just a little bit disappointed. But we do have a lot of like strong masculine energy either way. So Kritika is also partially falling in Aries, so there is an energy of Mars connected to it. But anyway, let's stick to what we have here, okay? So basically what I'm seeing here is that, first of all, the Jupiter and the Venus are telling me that you're definitely coming across as someone who is magnanimous, who is generous, also someone who's very fun and intelligent, you know, someone who has a good sense of humor, who can really lighten up the atmosphere in a room or in a particular group. You can be the kind of person that even when you're going through a rough time, you don't spread your negativity or your bad moods. You're someone who always has an uplifting effect on other people. You also have this very healing energy with the Venus energy. And also with the Venus, can I just say, also with Venus and Mars, you definitely come across as attractive. So I do take a little bit back of what I said with you're not everyone's cup of tea. Because I mean, it depends. Again, it does depend. So I do think that for some people, you are just extraordinarily beautiful. For other people, you could be just like, you know, pretty, but maybe not completely blown away by you or something. So I feel like, in other words, there's just something about your energy or your features that are very strong, you know, where people cannot feel lukewarm about you, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have Mars in the ascendant, aspecting the ascendant, or the moon or the sun. And if you come from Vedic astrology, you might have Mars aspecting the Arudha Lagna. That would explain a lot. Or other malefic planets like Saturn or Rahu or Ketu, which are the north node and the south node of the moon, respectively. But anyway, let me not get too much into astrology. If you're curious about astrology, you can check out my video description because I have an astrology channel and I will be linking it there. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that you probably come across as the kind of person that leaves a very strong impression, you know, so this is why people might either love you or hate you, but they have a hard time staying indifferent about you. This is further reinforced by the Ardra energy because Ardra is very intense, very emotional. It is ruled by the god of storms, basically. Not just storms, but aggression and destruction, basically. So there's like something maybe a little bit wild about you. By the way, Ardra is a very strong confirmation of what I said, that I think some of you could come across as very attached to nature or animals, and you know, people really admire this about you. Maybe there's just something about you that something about the way you talk about animals, or maybe some of you are even involved in you know, maybe not PETA, but you know, something like that, like fighting for the environment, for animals or something. So that could definitely stand out because I do see the repeated theme of the Mars energy, which is fighting spirit. So that could be in a number of ways, though. Dhanishta also is connected to things like the military, the police. So again, I'm not trying to say that everyone who watches this is going to be in the military or the police, but there could be like some kind of an energy where people see you as handling tough situations. You know, you look like you could handle tough situations, and I feel like people see you as having a strong body, definitely, you know, stronger than average, let me put it like that. And yeah, with Cancer coming out strongly, like I said, you definitely have a strong feminine nurturing side, very dreamy romantic side as well. So a lot of people could really see you as, you know, whimsical, a bit of a Pollyanna. Sometimes like there is kind of a what I was talking about, this kind of purity of your soul, you know, a bit of innocence coming through. So people find that very, very impressive, very attractive, unforgettable. And also, Punarvasu is a strong confirmation of what I said with your spiritual knowledge. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you were, you know, literally teaching in teaching positions, sharing knowledge, but especially in things to do with spirituality. So you might be really interested in spirituality, and somehow faith could be very strong about you because Jupiter is coming through, Punarvasu is coming through. So irrespective of whether you're part of an organized religion or not, something about your sense of faith and optimism in life, in yourself, comes through. With the Swati in Libra, you also come across as someone who can easily get along with all kinds of people from all kinds of different backgrounds. So there's this touch of diplomacy about you. And Pushya, once again, reinforces that kind of nurturing and almost a kind of servitude towards others. You know, like you want to take care of others, work for the greater good. Yeah, so even a touch of humanitarianism for some of you. And Sagittarius also shows, Sagittarius and Jupiter shows that you have a very strong sense of adventure as well. So it's like you could be someone who travels a lot, for instance. So, like I said, I feel like there's a dichotomy here between sometimes wanting to explore and to have adventures and to be physically active, and then other times being more of a homebody and just staying in your, like your nest and not coming out for like weeks at a time or something. That could be the case for many of you. With Venus coming through, though, people definitely remember your face, your voice. So this is a strong confirmation of what I said with the Mercury as well. Virgo and the Mercury are coming through repeatedly. So that shows that your hands, your arms, your shoulders could be attractive on a physical level. And Jupiter also shows that this is like your legs, like especially your thighs and your calves could be attractive. And with Mars, again, your muscle mass, your tone. For some of you, it could be that you have a toned body, but irrespective, actually, with Mars, like I said, it's more of that fighting spirit and a kind of aura that makes you look strong, charismatic. And you could also have like a definitely have a certain intensity about you, irrespective of your gender. There's a lot of intensity actually, but this is like it's a very kind of pure intensity. I don't know how to explain it. Like there's nothing kind of perverse or dark about it. I'm not getting this from this actually. Right. Contrary to what I said initially about the Scorpio energy, I'm actually getting like a lot of just, there's almost like, no, not offending anyone, but there's kind of like almost an animal sort of nature here. Like you're just like wild and free and you just do whatever you want and you're being yourself. And I feel like for many of you, it might be difficult to have a poker face actually. So you could be the kind of person that wears your heart on your sleeve, and people can immediately tell if you're sad, if you're happy, if whatever, so, and they like that about you. Like they like the fact that you are, like I said, what you see is what you get for most of you. All right, so this is pretty much what I have for you, pile number one, and I hope you have enjoyed it. I definitely have really strong messages, repeated themes. And if you have enjoyed it, I will remind you once again to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Comment in the comment section with any feedback you would like to give or ideas for future topics that you would like me to cover. Also, if you want to see when I will post a new video, please click on the notifications bell. And if you would like to support my channel further, you can do so by clicking on the join button, becoming a member for a small monthly fee, and in exchange for some perks that are detailed when you click on the join button. Also, if you're interested in a private tarot reading from me, you can check out the video description where I have left my contact information. I've also left a link to reviews that I have gotten for private readings in case you're curious. And last but not least, I also have an astrology channel and I will be linking it in the video description. Go ahead and check it out. I have more than 20 years of experience in astrology, both tropical and Vedic, but for about the past 10 years or so, I've been into Vedic astrology mainly, but I still use some insights from tropical. So if you're curious about astrology, go ahead and check out my astrology channel. Maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! So welcome, pile number 2. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here with number 12 and the word desolate, and or this iolite crystal. All right, so this is going to be the card shuffling / selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps if you don't want to sit through it because I will be taking my time. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2, the people who chose the iolite crystal. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 2 unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right. the Judgment card, the Eight of Wands, the King of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Magician. Oh, wow. Oh my God, I was just thinking about something, but I'm gonna hold that thought for after. I hope I don't forget it. Okay, Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What makes pile number 2 unforgettable in the eyes of others? The Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the King of Cups. Okay, let's see. Spirit, tell me about... Oh, wait, I forgot one more thing. I was going to take another card. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2, the Iolite Crystal. What makes pile number 2 unforgettable? We also have the Three of Swords. All right. So let's see. Some oracle cards. Yeah, I'm going to add this here. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. The people chose the Iolite Crystal. What makes them unforgettable? We have Assurance, number 14. Spirit, what makes pile number 2 unforgettable in the eyes of others? We have Personal Choice. Close your eyes. What animal do you imagine? What strengths are they known for? What wisdom do they share? Embrace these qualities. Can I just say, I mean, pile number 2, there's some very strong magical quality here. Like, I'm talking energies, Wicca stuff here. I was gonna say this while I was shuffling, but I held my thought. When I pulled out this card, actually, this actually reminded me of a scene from Carnivale or Carnivale. I don't even know how to pronounce it exactly. I like Carnivale better. It was this like HBO series from the early 2000s, and if you've watched that show, it's all about like the battle between good and evil, and about a chosen person fighting against evil. And there's the scene with a tree there catching fire in the middle of nowhere. And there's this thing where that they keep saying like every prophet in his house or her house. Anyway, there's just like whole theme of the supernatural in that show. So anyway, I do recommend it. And that was the first thing that literally came to my mind, was that show when I got this card. And then you got the Magician. You got the Magician, and then you got this card that says Personal Choice, about, you know, you can embrace the qualities of basically any animal that you think of. So there's like this very strong magical ability about you. Like there's this very kind of mystical aura about you, pile number 2. And it's really interesting though that these messages are also a little bit grim. You have Desolate with number 12, which boils down to a number 3 actually in numerology, which is Jupiter. So I'm actually getting strong Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra energy here, so I'm curious if that is going to come through later on when I get to the astrological bits. But let's forget about that. Even if the nakshatra doesn't come through, the energy is kind of here. You know, like there's this, it almost feels like some people see you as a very complex individual, like someone who has a great deal of choice in life. Like you have, how should I put it? Like you could actually be one of those people, because, you know, the theory of karma is that some people are born to burn out past life karma, and others have more freedom, you know? So you could be someone that was given more freedom on purpose, so that the higher powers, in a way, can see if you will make the right choices in life. So I feel like, in any case, from the perspective of others, They see you as someone who's very mystical, could be in touch with the supernatural. Maybe you're into Wicca. You could be into like things that are a little bit dark, and kind of, maybe frowned upon in society. And what I was going to say is that you have this kind of dark energy with the Desolate and the Three of Swords. So there's also maybe an energy about you of someone who has gone through a lot emotionally, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of pain. But it's like you continue to move forward and to evolve. So I feel like people see you as someone who has a great deal of resilience and strength. Oh my God, this is an even stronger confirmation. I just realized you have number 14 with assurance here. And the number 14 is actually a karmic number in numerology, and it actually has to do with exactly what I talked about earlier. It's the idea that in this lifetime, if you have this number strongly in your, your numerological makeup, you have a great deal of choice because in a past life, I mean, actually, no, it's like you're being tested. You're being tested to make the right choices because in a past life, you may have abused your freedom somehow. So with the number 14 coming through, you are someone who really loves freedom, and people see that about you. You're someone who, has something about you that is very wild and untamed, and maybe not necessarily in like a loud, aggressive way, but it's just that there's something about you where you have this energy of like, you don't listen to anyone else. Not really. You have this kind of dancing to the beat of your own drum sort of energy. So yeah, people find that very fascinating about you, and there's something decidedly spiritual, but like in a very metaphysical way. I'm not saying spiritual like in a very religious way. I'm seeing this as more, like I said, Wicca, astrology, working with energies, maybe getting into Thelema, if you've heard about it, Aleister Crowley and all that stuff. So anyway, there's the mystical quality here. You also actually have, oh my God, like the fourth repeated theme here. You have the Judgment card. You have the Judgment card, which is basically connected to divine judgment to some extent. It also means other things, yeah. But it's like there's something about you, like I feel people look at you and they think that you have some kind of a higher calling in life. But then also that you have a lot more burdens and a lot more responsibility because, well, I hate to quote Spider-Man, but with great power comes great responsibility. And yeah, pretty much. And oh my God, yeah, 8 of Wands. So repeated themes here. You have great powers of manifestation. You are the kind of person that comes across as someone who can just will things into creation, will things into reality. So in other words, I think people see you as someone who has a great deal of power, and in a very kind of unidentified way, like maybe not in the most traditional sense, not in the sense of money or social status, but like something metaphysical. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's something like an energy. I feel like for some of you, you might even be making some people uneasy sometimes because they can't figure you out and there's just something mystical about you. We do have 2 pages though. We have the Page of Cups, we have the Page of Swords, and we also have the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Cups, right? So there's this energy of youthfulness as well, of enthusiasm, of curiosity. You do also come across as someone who's very ambitious. Like you're not happy with the status quo. You're always chasing the next best thing. So I'm also getting potentially a strong Rahu energy with some of you, so you might have placements in Aquarius, or Rahu could be very strong. Rahu being the north node of the moon. But again, we'll see when I get to astrological placements. You also come across as someone who is very sharp intellectually, very discerning. Like you're not someone who is easily fooled. You have a very sharp perception. I feel like people also see you as someone who carefully thinks before making a decision. But sometimes you might also come across as someone who overanalyzes. Yeah, I'm getting this repeated theme that people think like the strongest, the heaviest, the hardest part for you is to just decide on a course. And once you have decided on a course, you're like a trailblazer. You know, it's like nothing can stop you once you have decided to achieve something. But again, I'm really seeing a lot of energies here. So I'm getting very, like I said, mystical, metaphysical stuff. I'm also getting that you have a very, very, very strong intuition. So I feel like you could be, again, the kind of person that weirds people out with your perception. Maybe you say things that make others wonder how you know the things you know. Like you could, for instance, point out that you don't like a person and something will come out about this person that proves your intuition was right. Something like that. It's like you could have like very sharp perceptions of the people around you. I feel like people see that there is an emotional heaviness about you, but at the same time, you never really let go of the inner child. Like you're always capable of, taking pleasure in the small things and moving forward. I feel like you also might be someone who uses your bad emotional hurts, disappointments in life as an inspiration for creative works, for instance. And it could be creative works, or could be something intuitive, something like working as a healer, or working as even something like astrologer, or some kind of an energy worker with things that are more metaphysical. They see you as it's like I feel like you're the kind of person that struggles to fit in, honestly. Like I'm getting this like very strong message that you're not someone who easily fits into the mainstream. And other people see that you have the ability to fit into the mainstream. They see that you are very intelligent. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have, university degrees or something in some kind of a very respected field, like, I don't know, being an engineer, being a doctor, or whatever, but then you don't really like to work in those fields, or you're not, people can see that your heart is lying with things that are more subtle, that have to do with emotional intelligence, again, being a kind of a healer or a creator of some kind. And I feel like people see the fact that even though you have like first class intellectual abilities and logical thinking, you don't lead with logic, you lead with your intuition. And there is also kind of a bit of a wounded healer archetype here. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if you also have placements in Satabisha Nakshatra. This is pretty much what I'm getting from the cards. So let me see the astrological notes. Pile number 2. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. The people who chose the Iolite. What makes them unforgettable? Pisces, not surprised, the dreamer. We have Mars, drive and power. Oh, wow. Bingo. Confirmation. North node of the moon, or Rahu. We have Virgo. Interesting that it's called the alchemist here. So that's a confirmation of the magician. We also have Taurus, the sensual. So let's break this down. So pile number 2. What makes you unforgettable? With Rahu, there's a strong confirmation of what I said. I feel like some of you could be the rebel without a cause, or just a rebel, either with or without a cause. There's something rebellious about you, unconforming. You come across as a very free-spirited individual. Like I said, dances to the beat of their own drum. We also have Virgo, so that's a strong confirmation of prime intellectual abilities together with Mars. So you probably come across as someone who is very logical when you are required, at least. Maybe that's not your default mode, like I said. I feel like for most of you, that's not your default mode. But you will come across as someone who definitely can have attention to detail, can be good at analytical thinking, logic. I wouldn't be surprised if you were good at, maths and biology and a lot of stuff, chemistry. You could also have a part of you that is very detail oriented. You could also be very organized, like even if you're not naturally organized, again, you look like you're someone who could become very organized, or like someone who has an eye for detail, maybe a touch of investigative abilities, but I'm going to see if that comes out further. Pisces is idealism. Yeah. Idealism, romance, and it could be like what I was talking about, intuition. I also feel like maybe you come across as someone who is more sensitive than average. More sensitive, dreamy, and a bit otherworldly, definitely. And intuition is strong with you, absolutely. We also have Taurus, so this shows that there's a sense of stability and stubbornness about you. Also with the Mars, so it's like you're the kind of person that normally is not very aggressive, but if you are provoked, you can be the raging bull, So I feel like some people just sense the fact that there's a power about you. There's like a silent power where on the surface you can be pretty easy-go-lucky, but if people cross you, they very quickly sense that, you're not to be trifled with. And there's also something about your voice, your face that stands out. Your hands and your arms and your shoulders could also stand out. For some of you, your feet could stand out. I also feel like your eyes could be particularly expressive. And there could also be something really unusual about not just your personality, but something about your appearance as well. You could be coming from a mixed ethnic background, and that could be something that makes you stand out. The Mars energy also shows that you come across as having a fighting spirit, assertive, maybe athletic, or someone who has a strong body, and your body stands out one way or another, again, irrespective of what kind of a body type you have. But I wouldn't be surprised if many of you, I wouldn't be surprised if, this pile was particularly sporty or, athletic or, yeah, something like that. Basically, you could be really focused on developing the physical body. And there's a fighting spirit. Like, this is really specific, but some of you could be even into things like self-defense courses or combat, or maybe you've been in the military or the police or something. And that's something that stands out about you in any case, the fighting spirit. All right, so let me get more markers. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. Let's get the dice. Tell me about pile number 2, Spirit. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Okay, so we have Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius in tropical astrology, so that's a confirmation of Rahu. We also have number 10, which to me makes me think of the 10th house and Capricorn. And we also have Capricorn. All right. So you have a lot of Capricorn energy, a lot of Saturn, sorry. So both Aquarius and Capricorn are ruled by Saturn. So this can also show that you come across as very focused on building a career, like you have some kind of a higher vision for yourself. You look like someone who's going places. Whoops, sorry. You look like someone who is diligent, hardworking, who plans ahead, basically. Like you're taking things one step at a time, and you have this attitude of slow and steady wins the race. You also have this energy of someone who's very thorough and serious. So the Capricorn and in the Aquarius with all the Saturn energy, which is the planet of frustrations and delays and pain and all that, explains the, first of all, the barrenness of this image here with desolate, because Saturn actually rules, barren areas like the desert and also the Three of Swords, because Saturn rules basically hardships and pain, right? So I feel like you come across as someone who has gone through a lot, and that has made you very tough and very resilient. So let me get some charms. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right. So we have the microphone over here, which to me shows that, again, your voice could be standing out. Some of you could actually be good singers, but I also feel like you're someone who maybe touches a wide audience, or you look like you're someone who could touch a wide audience, you know, who could easily reach to people from all kinds of different backgrounds because you know how to express yourself. This makes me think of something very intricate, but it also makes me think of like a Celtic motif. So it could be like, I mean, this is, again, makes me think of Wicca. Like for some of you, Celtic, Druid, stuff like that. If you're interested in anything connected to Wicca, this is standing out as particularly unforgettable about you. But also the intricacy makes me think that you come across as a very complicated person. Complicated, hard to figure out, like I said. We also have, oh my god, we have the skull and bones here. Oh, I don't know why I was getting Toxic by Britney Spears playing in my head right now. No, you're not toxic. And that's not what I'm that's not what I'm saying. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like to be honest, maybe some of you have been scapegoated in life. It's like some people might not trust you just because they don't understand you, which at the end of the day is human psychology, you know. It's like people fear anything they don't understand. So since this energy is giving me kind of very unconforming, unusual energy, I wouldn't be surprised if you were someone who was scapegoated, and it's like, this is really specific, but maybe for some of you, you've even been involved in some kind of a scandal or something, or you've had some kind of a conflict, but in a weird way, people admire that about you. I feel like if that is the case, there could be something about you that other people just see that as you having a no nonsense attitude and someone who sticks to your boundaries. And or this could also be about transformation, and this could also be about, well, again, Saturn rules bones, so I would also see it as a confirmation of the Saturn energy. But I think that with the skeleton, it's also a confirmation that many of you are just not afraid, you know? Not afraid and or into black magic is all I'm gonna say. All right, we have the hummingbird here, which makes me think of something exotic. Again, like some of you, I wouldn't be surprised if you come from like, you know, mixed cultural backgrounds, mixed race, something. Maybe you're someone who has traveled and lived in foreign lands a lot, and that's something that stands out about you. We also have this that I have gotten this in other readings, and I've said, I always think about this. It says 1905 on it. It makes me think of the musical key that you write music with at the beginning, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's the musical key. If any of you know about music, you know, this is how you start writing music on paper. So maybe some of you are involved with music. Maybe you just come across as someone who has a nice voice. Maybe people like your singing voice. But since we also have the number 1905 here, which on the one hand is ruled by Venus, and on the other hand it just shows a very long time ago, this is a confirmation of Saturn energy. So I feel like I'm getting, you know, vintage wine here. Energy, like there's something, I mean, I feel like people are actually thinking you're someone who gets better with age. It could be about your looks. It could be about overall your vibe and your energy. And last but not least, we have this bow, which makes me think of presents. Like presents, gifts, you know, Christmas, Easter, holidays, birthdays, and stuff. So it makes me think that on the one hand, some of you could be prim and proper. You know, you come across as well-groomed, and people might admire your sense of fashion, your sense of style. Why does it keep dropping? Anyway, your sense of fashion, sense of style, but I also think that, yeah, it makes me think of the Virgo energy. Like some of you could come across as very neat and, just pretty in a very simple way without too much embellishments, too many embellishments. But it also makes me think of the fact that I think people see you as kind of a gift or gifted. Gift and gifted. All right, this is what I'm getting. So let me get the handwritten astrological notes. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 2 unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 2 unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right. Now, so let's see. We have Jupiter. All right. So again, confirmation of the original card, which is ruled by Jupiter. Number 3. We have Mercury. So that's intellect. That's air energy. We have Venus. All right. So that's also physical beauty, and it's also a confirmation of the Taurus energy. You have a beautiful voice. We also have Sagittarius. This could be about you coming from mixed ethnicity or just someone who has traveled a lot. We have Virgo twice. So some of you could really have a strong Virgo energy in your horoscope. We have Uttarashadha, which is ruled by the Sun, falls in Sagittarius and Capricorn. We have Uttara Falguni, which is ruled by the Sun, falls in Virgo and Leo. That explains a lot. All right. We also have Mula, which falls in Sagittarius, ruled by Ketu. And we have Punarvasa, which is ruled by Jupiter, falls in Gemini and Cancer. So, yeah, a lot of confirmations basically of what I have already explained, but then there are some other indicators which I'm going to unpack. Before I continue, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel, though. If you have found value in any of my readings, it is the easiest way to support me, and it is free. And also consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to see when I will upload a new reading. Thanks. So, moving on. What I'm seeing here is that your hands, your arms are standing out, your looks. See, with Venus, there's a lot of sensuality about your energy, and this could literally be your physical appearance. It is very likely, but it's also something that comes through your energy. There's something soothing and a bit feminine about you, and there's a lot of sensuality, like I said. So you could also be the kind of person that knows how to dress without being too flashy, and people might admire, like I said, your sense of fashion, especially if you wear nice fabrics and, good quality material. People notice that. They notice your face, like I said, your hair, your lips could be a thing. Also, your skin could be particularly nice. Your legs could be particularly nice, especially your calves. I don't know how to pronounce them exactly. You could also have, like I said, yeah, beautiful hands, arms. Your style of communication, your intellect is coming through as very attractive. You come across as very intelligent. And you also come across as someone who has a broad view. Someone who has traveled, has educated themselves a lot. Someone who has a broad view of the world, maybe a bit of a globetrotter. And with Virgo, like I said, the analytics is here. You could be a bit of a naturalist in the sense that maybe you're into biology, chemistry, learning about the natural world. And Jupiter is showing that you have this energy of optimism and faith, and somehow faith is very important to you. And you could be someone who is good at teaching, good at sharing knowledge. You also come across as an idealist. So yeah, spirituality is very strong. I have mentioned this in other videos as well, that Punarvasu is connected to teaching, especially spiritual teaching. Like Teal Swan also has ascendant in Punarvasu. I'm using her as an example because she's an example of a spiritual teacher. And yeah, she actually also has Moon in Uttarashadha, by the way. So yeah, I don't know. This is the Teal Swan team or something. Um, and we do have a strong Sun energy as well. So there could be a strong sense of pride about you, and definitely the ability to be creative. You also have a very inquisitive, investigative mind. You know, someone who is very good at research. And you could be interested in old stuff, like vintage stuff. Maybe you're interested in things like genealogy and history and stuff like that. But again, this could literally be that people like your ethnic background, they like your family history, or something about, yeah, it could be something about your ethnicity is standing out, or something about your origins. This is why I'm getting that I think many of you are coming from a mixed race or mixed ethnic background, or you know, maybe you have moved to a different place than you are from originally. Somehow that you know, leaves a mark on other people. And there's definitely a message of spirituality here, like with Uttarashadha. Yeah. Also with Uttar Falguni, there's a lot of creativity and there's a lot of stubbornness as well. Like you're the kind of person that is almost impossible to shake once you have decided to pursue a course. That's pretty much a very strong confirmation. You can be extremely, you can have this huge amount of inertia basically. And I also feel like your eyes could be particularly intense. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you also had broad shoulders, broad jawlines as well. And this could add to like your appeal and what makes you stand out. All right, so this is pretty much what I have for you, pile number 2. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the notifications bell. If you're curious about a private reading, check out the information I have left in the video description. You can email me for a list of pricing lists and reading options. I've also left a link in the video description to reviews I've gotten for private readings if you want to see them. If you would like to support my channel further, you can do so by clicking on the join button under any of my videos and become a member for a small monthly fee in exchange for some perks, which are detailed when you click on the join button. And last but not least, I have an astrology channel. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology, but also with some tropical insights. And if you're curious about astrology, go ahead and check out the link in the video description. Maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! So, welcome pile number 3. This is your reading if you have chosen this card, number 26 with Nest and or this ruby zoisite crystal. This is going to be the card selection / shuffling phase. So if you don't want to sit through it, I'm going to add timestamps. You can skip directly to the interpretation. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What makes pile number 3 unforgettable? What makes pile number 3 unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, Spirit. The Star, all right. The Queen of Swords. The Page of Pentacles. The Four of Swords. The Hermit. And the Death card. All right. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the ruby zoisite. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, Spirit. What makes pile number 3 unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups, the Sun, the 4 of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords twice, the King of Cups. Let me get another card. Tarot card. Okay, Spirit, what makes pile number 3 unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right, this one. Page of Pentacles. Oh, Page of Pentacles came out twice. All right. Let's get some oracle cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What makes pile number 3 unforgettable? Okay. So we have be your best self always with number 24. And another card. Spirit, tell me about what makes pile number 3 unforgettable. What makes pile number 3 unforgettable? Okay. So, let's see. Wow, Cougar, assertive. In silence, you find power, claim your leadership role, and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. And you have this card with be your best self always, number 24. And you have the Page of Pentacles coming out twice. And you also have the Queen of Swords coming out twice. So clearly a lot of strong messages for you, pile number 3. You have some very strong cards in general. You also have the Star, you have the Sun. And this original card has the number 26 on it with Nest. And 26 boils down to a 8 in numerology, which is basically ruled by Saturn. And it's a number associated with power and materialism. You also have the 9 of Pentacles, so that falls into place. In any case, the main themes that I'm getting here, right? You also have the Death card. So there's a strong theme of Aquarius, Scorpio energy. Scorpio, potentially Capricorn as well. But yeah, I'm getting especially Aquarius, Scorpio. So with the Star card, there could be something about you that is very charismatic, that really stands out from the beginning when people look at you. I just noticed that there's a Sun here as well with the Cougar, assertive. In silence, you find power. Claim your leadership role and take action. So you definitely come across as a leader, right? Because we also have the Sun here. You come across as someone who, not just a leader, but like you could be an influencer. For some of you, literally, maybe you have a strong social media following. You could be someone who is impacting a large group of people. Some of you could be teachers. Some of you could be creators because of the Sun energy. So somehow your work could be touching a lot of people's lives and influencing the way that people see things. You also have the Queen of Swords coming out twice, which is Aquarius energy. And it also shows this very sharp intellectual ability. So you could come across as someone who is very no nonsense, someone who basically is almost impossible to fool. But I feel like since the Queen of Swords in both cases is coming associated with these cards that show basically abandonment and loneliness to some extent, you have the Hermit card, and then you have the Queen of Swords, and then you also have the 5 of Cups underneath the Queen of Swords. So this makes me think that people look at you as a bit of an isolated person. I feel like some people, if you are single, are just continuously wondering why you are single. And I feel like for most people, they do see you as someone who maybe is demanding, is, you know, yeah, maybe too demanding, maybe someone who's too choosy, for instance, especially if you're single, as in, yeah, well, if you're single with respect to your romantic relationship status. But I feel like this goes beyond relationship status. I think you're someone who just doesn't look like you have a lot of friends, or like doesn't look like you're someone who easily opens up. Ironically, all right, despite the fact that you have this like Sun and Star energy here. And by the way, the Star also comes with the number 8, which is power and determination and all that, a bit of a Saturn energy. So I feel like people just are struck by your charisma, your energy, your leadership ability, It makes me think of, honestly, the saying of it's lonely at the top, or, like the sun. Just, I mean, in astrology, again, I don't want to get too much into it, but in astrology, the sun energy is kind of associated with a certain loneliness because, the sun's path in life is to shine for others. And it is also about cultivating oneself, one's creativity, one's visions. So, inevitably, there is a certain level of isolation because it's difficult to make everyone happy and at the same time be 100% true to yourself and your authenticity and your creative projects and all that. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, that you are someone who is pretty much an individualist, someone who is not compromising, maybe someone who's not afraid to burn bridges. You could also have strong placements in the nakshatras ruled by the sun, Kritika, Uttara, Falguni, Uttara, Shadha, or you could have placements in Leo, or the fifth house could be very strong. Or maybe you could have a lot of sun aspects in your horoscope, like sun is conjunct other planets or aspecting a lot of other planets. That could be a thing, all right? Not necessarily, because this is all about archetypes, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're going to have this in your horoscope. Irrespective, these are the energies that are coming through for you. You could also be a life path number 1, by the way. Life path number 1, or like destiny number 1, born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, the 28th, for instance. In any case, there is this message of be your best self always, right, with number 24. So I feel like you're someone who, it's like through your individuality, you also encourage other people to be themselves. And I feel like you lead by example, basically, and other people feel encouraged to be braver and to be true to themselves because of the interactions that they have with you. They also see you as someone, I mean, there's like a repeated theme, honestly, of like, you're someone who pretty much keeps to yourself, ironically, like I said, ironically, because it's like, I feel like other people see you as someone who could be even maybe famous, like on a grand scale, or someone who could just influence large masses of people, but for one reason or another, you just don't feel comfortable being too open with others, or maybe you're not comfortable in the limelight. So yeah, it's like, there's something about you that makes people wonder what is going on. Or I feel like the people who notice you, they notice that you have extraordinary qualities. So they're wondering why you're not maybe getting as much recognition as you deserve. Or yeah, the degree of fame that you would deserve. Yeah, there is an energy of very deep emotions about you. I feel like people look at you and they think you're a very profound individual. You could also be someone who has gone through some kind of transformations. This is really specific, but I'm getting mental health. So I feel like if you are someone who has gone through mental health struggles, people admire the fact that you have managed to deal with those issues. You also come across as someone who is not particularly flashy, someone who's good at managing money, maybe being a bit of a minimalist or someone who's frugal. They also see you as someone who has the ability to land on your feet. Like, for instance, with respect to finances, people see you as someone who is interesting. Like, I feel like even though you have the Nine of Pentacles, people don't see you as rolling in money, for instance, but they see that you somehow have this ability to always land on your feet, like to come through with the money you need. And I think people look at you as someone who, even though you may not have a lot, you might have an attitude of abundance, or like you just know how to make the most of the resources you have. And they admire your, resourcefulness. People also see you as pretty unbothered, to be fair. Yeah, they see you as someone who maybe is meditating on the regular, or you're kind of like in your own little world sometimes. And they actually like that about you. Like these are things that are, you know, making you stand out. But yeah, I also feel like many people maybe are wondering that I are wondering if you have shut down because of a lot of emotional pain. But I also think that they're wondering if maybe you are creating more drama than necessary in your lives. You know, like I feel like people are seeing you as, like I said, you could be coming across as pretty selective, you know, with respect to social interactions in general, not just romance. So you come across as someone who basically, you know, it's like if someone is not exactly the kind of person that you want to spend time with and does not really conform to your list of principles and values and things, that you have a hard time tolerating people around you unless they are on the same page as you are. And yeah, you could come across as a bit intolerant, basically. But there's also an energy of a lot of intuition and emotional intelligence. You definitely have like very strong leadership abilities. I mean, people see you as someone who knows how to connect emotionally with a lot of people, even though you yourself may not have the best interpersonal relations, or you may not be easily opening up and having friends. But when it comes to like a grand scale, you know how to connect with people, you know how to understand people. You might have a lot of, you know, insight into human psychology and a very strong intuition, like I said. And you could also be very, very creative, very creative. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, there's a repeated theme of you being creative when it comes to making money, especially, or with respect to your career. People might see you as someone who is growing your finances based on some passion project, you know, someone who is bound to make a lot of money through your own efforts. But I feel for most of you that you're not there yet. I feel like this is your potential. I wouldn't be surprised to see some strong Mars energy as well, maybe. And we have, yeah, the nest here. Yeah, the nest just makes me think of a bit of isolation. You know, it makes me think of someone who is kind of like in their little comfort zone, maybe in their little cave. You know, this is what it makes me think of. But it can also be linked to creativity and children because, again, that's the sun energy, the fifth house energy. So let me get some astrological cards. Let's see what else is going on. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the Roby Zoe side. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 3 unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, Spirit. Okay. So let's see. We have Aries. Okay, so there's some Mars going on. We have Virgo, the Alchemist. We have Mars. All right, so there's the Mars going on. We have the ninth house, okay, learning and faith. And we have opposition, tension, and opposites. Opposition makes me think that maybe some of you could have a lot of energies in your horoscope, for instance, that are opposites. So, for instance, you could have planets in the first house, planets in the seventh house, just a lot of oppositions, literally. Like maybe you have planets in Aquarius and then planets in Leo, which makes a lot of creates a lot of inner conflict, but then it also gives you this ability to put yourself in other people's shoes and also increases that emotional intelligence, you know, that empathy. And with the ninth house, learning and faith, I feel that people admire your intellect, your intelligence, your education, your ideas, your sense of faith. I think they might see you as someone who has a broad view of things, you know, like maybe someone who has traveled a lot, someone who's well educated as well. Your physical your physical body stands out with the Mars and the Aries, and the Virgo also means that, again, your intellect, your ability to be frugal on the one hand. So I see Virgo as a confirmation of the Four of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. So some of you could definitely be minimalists, for instance. Some of you could be just very frugal, like you don't like to, for instance, spend a lot of money on trivial things, wearing a lot of flashy clothes or something. You're more of a quality over quantity kind of person. But there's also this energy of simpleness and purity almost, you know? I feel like you present yourself mostly as a simple, neat, clean person, and I feel a lot of people really admire that about you, together with your intellectual abilities and your perfectionism and your attention to detail. All right, so this is pretty much what I can get from the, let me see some more actually. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the ruby zoisite crystal. What makes them unforgettable? Okay, so we do have Scorpio. There's the death card energy. We have some Scorpio going on. We have number 4, which makes me think, number 4 came out repeatedly in this chart. And, oh wow, we have Pluto, which is like double confirmation of Scorpio energy. So yeah, you come across as intense, mysterious, keeps to yourself, but has an undeniable charisma and sex appeal. Yeah. And the number 4 that came through repeatedly in this horoscope just shows that you could be someone who's very focused on the home base, maybe attached to your family, attached to your place of origin. But it also shows like a lot of depth emotionally. And it also connects to stability, you know, like people see you as a very stable, solid person. And that's what makes you stand out and makes you very, I think, attractive in the eyes of many people, to be fair. All right, let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What makes them unforgettable? All right, nothing wants to come out. Come on, nothing? Wow, can you imagine? All right. Wow. Your pile is so poor in charms. All right, so we have this football or soccer ball, and the shoe makes me think of the Mars energy, athleticism. So I feel like people admire, if you're someone who's into sports, that's something that stands out about you. But you also come across as just someone who's competitive, who is strong physically, maybe into sports, maybe into things like combat, self-defense, stuff like that. Maybe more specifically, some of you could be in military or police. That stands out about you. But in any case, your assertiveness, your aggression kind of stands out. There's a strong aggression here in this pile. All right. We also have this love. I always mention this whenever I see this locket almost. I get Love Locked Down by Kanye West in my head. So I feel like this is actually very scorpionic energy in the sense that people see you as someone who, what's the phrase? Keeps your cards close to your vest or something like that. You don't let people know about your private affairs, your emotions, but people can sense that you're a very passionate, intense person. You know, it's just that you keep it locked down, basically, love lockdown. We also have this spiral, which makes me think of a labyrinth, honestly. It makes me think of labyrinths or vertigos. Both of them, maybe. So again, just makes me think that you come across as a very complicated person. Someone that is very hidden and people can't really figure you out. But they can see that you have maybe a persona that you show to the world. but they can sense that there's a lot more underneath. We also have this castle, like, it makes me think of Castle by Halsey, the song. I'm heading straight for the castle, you know, and makes me think of the number 8 again. It makes me think of this Mars energy, the Scorpio. So people might see you as like a pretty determined go-getter type. But then this could also show that you might seem like you come from good breeding. Or like you might seem like there's something just classy about you and timeless. Yeah, classy. Maybe through your style, the way you carry yourself, pretty much. And we also have this butterfly, which just makes me think of transformation, which is more of that death card. So this is real specific, but maybe some of you have gone through some kind of significant transformation that other people know of. And if that is the case, obviously that stands out, makes you stand out, you know. This could be anything, could be with respect to your finances, career, physical body, a lot of things. But in general, there's like this aura about you transforming. I just realized that there's literally a butterfly here on the death card. Doesn't surprise me because the butterfly is connected to transformation, you know, as a symbol. So pretty much, let's see the handwritten astrological notes. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 3 unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, Spirit. I think that's enough. All right, that's a lot. Like the other piles didn't get as many. Okay, we have K2, the co-ruler of Scorpio. That's more Scorpio energy. So yeah, the K2 also speaks of isolation. Very strong confirmation. I feel like, you know, many of you may have come from rough backgrounds, maybe have felt isolated for a long portion of your life, but people do see that you are someone who's very spiritual and very difficult to understand, to be fair. We have Gemini, which is a kind of a youthfulness. There is some Mercury energy there. You know, your style of communication could be standing out. We also have Mars the second time, strong confirmation. So yeah, we also have Capricorn. Interesting because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So this definitely shows what I have said so far, that you come across as a go-getter, someone who's very strong, competitive. And we have Virgo for the second time. So some of you might have very prominent Virgo placements. And we have Sagittarius. All right. So a bit of a globetrotter energy. That 9th house is being confirmed. Globetrotter, someone who's educated, intelligent. Wow, I'm not surprised to get this. I was thinking about Vishaka the whole time when I was pulling out the Pluto and the Scorpio and all that. Because this nakshatra, it falls mainly in Libra, but a little bit of it also is Scorpio, is extremely competitive. It's known to be very competitive and kind of aggressive, all right? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Also, it's known for being quite athletic. So, wouldn't be surprised if some of you have placements. Yeah, Aquarius, Sata Bishak Nakshatra, very strong confirmations, because I did say the Queen of Swords came out twice, so there's a lot of Aquarius energy. And yes, Sata Bishak is also kind of a wounded, a wounded healer archetype, and the archetype of someone who has suffered a lot and uses their suffering to teach others. And we have Chitra, which is also ruled by Mars. Both of these nakshatras are connected to the tiger, and you also had the cougar here as an animal. I'm not surprised. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, so far in this pile, I'm getting the strongest messages that you have an imposing physique. Like, especially strong muscle mass. And you could be someone who's particularly athletic, maybe into combat. We also have Uttara Bhadrapada, which falls in Pisces, is ruled by Saturn. We have Uttara Shadha, which is ruled by the Sun. This is a confirmation. I did mention Uttara Shadha. And we have Swati, which is falling in Libra and ruled by Rahu. There's that star energy a little bit. And we have Ashwini, which is ruled by Ketu and is falling in Aries. We did have Aries come out as well. And we have Shravana falling in Capricorn, ruled by the Moon. All right. So let me try to break down some of the messages that I'm getting here. But before I continue, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It is the easiest way to support me and it is free. Also consider clicking on the notifications bell to see when I will upload a new reading. Thanks. So what I'm seeing here extra is, well, the competitiveness that I was talking about with Vishaka and Chitra. Also with Chitra and Swati and the Capricorn a little bit. I definitely see where that star card is coming from. Also with Satabishak as well. Satabishak Nakshatra, I've actually done a video particularly about this nakshatra on my astrology channel, which you will find in the video description if you're curious about it. And it shows up very prominently in the horoscopes of people who have had massive impacts on the world, especially artists, but not just artists, right? So, for instance, Robin Williams had strong Satabishak. A lot of psychotherapists have Satabishak Nakshatra. I don't know about Gabor Mate, but I know that there is this therapist called Amen, Dr. Amen, spelled A-M-E-N. I don't know what his first name is. He has Moonish Satabishak. Jordan Peterson also has some strong Satabishak energy. Kurt Cobain had strong Satabishak energy. You know, a lot of people, but usually what you see with this nakshatra, there's a theme of people who have suffered a lot in life, and they use that suffering somehow to transform themselves and then to transform other people, like by, for instance, producing art that touches a lot of other people, or becoming a healer that really understands a certain ailment because of their own experience, and then they learn how to heal others through their own experience, right? So there's kind of this archetype of the wounded healer, and Satabishak is very humanitarian, and it has this ability to heal people. It's also in Vedic astrology sometimes called the 100 physicians to the gods. Literally, it's translated like that. So it's connected to healing professions, to medical science. So it's a very strong confirmation of the fact that you have the ability to touch a lot of people. Now, whether you're actually doing it or not, that's, you know, depends on your individual situations. But based on what I'm seeing here, a lot of you are not getting as much attention as people feel like you could be getting, right? Or as much as you could be claiming. I feel like some of you might be in hiding, or it's just that you haven't quite figured out maybe how to make the most of your talents. But people look at you and they think you could make it big, you know, with that star card and these archetypes coming through here. People look at you and they think, you know, you could get mass fame, basically. And with Chitra, also your physical appearance is really standing out. Chitra is known to be very focused on not just the physical body, but appearance in general, to be fair. And, you know, especially with women, for instance, in Chitra, they tend to have a lot of attractiveness. Yeah. Also, not just through their physical features, but also through their style. Like, they could be very interested in things like photography, fashion, anything that has to do with visual stuff, you know, like video editing, or yeah, maybe it could be into modeling or something like that. So for some of you, see how it resonates, right? So in any case, your physical appearance is definitely standing out. Your style is standing out. If you're actually involved in some kind of creative projects, people notice that. They really admire that about you. And Uttara Bhadrapada is known, this is like the Four of Swords right here, man. The Uttara Bhadrapada is very much connected to meditation. It's also connected to dancing, but it's a very spiritual nakshatra. This is like it's like the evolved version of Purva Bhadrapada, but I won't get too much into astrology. So in any case, it's a nakshatra that is connected to spirituality, things like yoga, meditation, dancing, but it could be dancing used as a kind of a healing method, or as a way to get into hypnosis or something like that. There's always some touch of like metaphysical energy with Uttara Bhadrapada. It could be also very connected to the sea, and it's actually connected to these serpent-like deities called Nagas in Vedic astrology. And there's also kind of gracefulness about the physical body of people who have a lot of Uttra Bhadrapada. So this could be something that people see in you, like maybe you're talented in dancing, maybe the way you walk, the way you carry yourself is very appealing, very graceful. And with Uttra Ashadha, there is this ability to express yourself in a way that really attracts attention. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you really could be into creative arts, because there are a lot of indicators here. Again, it's like, even if you're not, people see you as having the ability to becoming like a famous artist or something like that. But I also see distinctly with many of you that you come across as very spiritual, someone who could teach on spirituality. You're definitely very interested in spirituality. I'm getting a lot more of spirituality here as opposed to organized religion. It's more like you have your own thing and you study on your own or something. Maybe you could learn through a guru. So I'm getting more unconventional, not organized religions here. People can also see you as someone who's strong in debates, like you may not back down from a fight or an argument easily. They also can see you as someone having a sharp tongue. And they could admire, when it comes to your physical body, they could admire your features could be quite delicate. I feel like you definitely come across as mysterious. There could be something about either your aura or your physical features that make you look mysterious. Many of you could have features that are quite delicate, petite, and people find that very attractive about you. Many of you, I'm seeing almond-shaped eyes that are really dreamy. Again, your eyes could definitely be drawing attention. But I'm seeing that, yeah, also with Shravana, you come across as a good listener. And with Ashwini, a good leader, basically. Yeah, but it's all coming through as very kind of spiritually oriented, a lot of emotional intelligence, especially with Shravana. People admire the fact that you come across as a good listener. People really admire your attention to details as well. And this is really specific physically, not just your body in general, but especially your legs. Your calves and your thighs could be very attractive. If you wear jewelry, for instance, people like the kind of jewelry that you wear. And you could have pretty wide set eyes. And yeah, you have this kind of effortless charisma about you. Like, even if you are not particularly keen on socializing, you easily can attract people to you. And yeah, this is pretty much what I have for you, pile number 3. And I hope you have enjoyed it. A lot of repeated themes, strong messages as usual. I definitely have enjoyed doing the reading. If you have liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the notifications bell if you want to see when I will post a new video. Also, comment in the comment section with any feedback or ideas for future topics that you would like me to cover. If you would like to support my channel further, you can click on the join button and become a member in exchange for a small monthly fee. And you can get some perks which are detailed if you click on the join button. If you would be interested in a private tarot reading, you can find more information about that in the video description. I have left my email. You can email me for a list of prices and reading options. And I've also left a link to reviews I've gotten for private readings before. If you're curious, you can check them out in the video description. And last but not least, I also have an astrology channel, and I will be linking it in the video description as well. If you're curious, check it out, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology for about the past 10 years now, but I've also had more than 10 years experience in reading tropical charts, so I tend to kind of use my insights from the tropical system as well, although I mainly stick to Vedic. So anyway, if you're curious, check it out in the video description. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! So welcome pile number 4. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here with Inner Garden. and or this milky quartz crystal. So this is going to be the card shuffling / selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps if you want to skip directly to the reading, because it will be taking my time. All right. Spirit, tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? I almost said unforgivable for some reason. What makes pile number 4 unforgettable? I'm not sure about this one. All right, this is the 8 of Cups. I'm going to stick it back in and see if it comes out again. Spirit, what makes pile number 4, the people who chose the milky quartz, unforgettable in the eyes of others? 2 of Cups. King of Swords. Whoops. The Chariot. The Witch, which is the magician in this deck. 9 of Pentacles. And the 2 of Pentacles. All right. Spirit, what makes pile number 4 unforgettable in the eyes of others? Tell me, what makes pile number 4, the people who chose the milky quartz, unforgettable in the eyes of, I don't know about that one, in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 4 unforgettable in the eyes of others? Oh my god, I made a mistake. I have to. Why did I take the same deck? Alright, pausing. Alright, sorry y'all. Starting again with the second row. Spirit, tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Okay, what makes pile number 4? Oh, this one just popped out. Knight of Wands. Okay. So, the High Priest, which is the Hierophant. The King of Swords. Underneath the King of Swords. Unbelievable. The 2 of Swords. The Tower. Oh, wow. The Knight of Pentacles. Let me get another card from this deck. Oof. Spirit, tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable? What makes pile number 4 unforgettable? This one just wants to come out, I guess. And what is this? The Tower again. Okay, pile number 4. Oh, I'm already getting maybe potentially strong Ardra or Purva Bhadravata placements, but we'll hold that thought. Okay. And let's get some oracle cards. We have, okay, tell me, Spirit. Tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Perfect setting, number 9. And let me get another one. Tell me about pile number 4, the people who chose the milky quartz. What makes them unforgettable? Ooh, Squirrel, always prepared. Okay, so let's break down. We have Squirrel, always prepared. You are the expert of hard work and hard play. Your cheerful and fun disposition is a blessing to everyone. Don't let life's distractions take you off course. Make a plan for the future and life will give you all you need. And you have this card with perfect setting number 9, which is ruled by Mars. So I'm going to put these here. You also had the Tower card come out twice here. You have this and this. Tower card coming out twice. All right. And we have Inner Garden with number 22 on it. So, the Tower is coming underneath the Magician card. So pile number 4, I'm already getting a very strong message that you're someone who's I mean, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. I feel like you're someone, honestly, who can be kind of sometimes a bull in a china shop. All right. This is I can't think of a better way to put it, but I don't mean it in an offensive way. And I feel like people are impressed by how powerful you are, but like sometimes you might create unnecessary drama because of your personality and your tempestuousness. Sometimes there could be like a slight touch of recklessness about you. Oh, you also have the King of Swords coming out twice. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. One underneath the other. So there's a strong Aquarius energy as well. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you don't have Libra or Aquarius placements, because we also have the Two of Cups here. So can I just say before I continue, if you felt drawn to any of the other piles, feel free to check them out, because there might be messages there for you. You do have some cards that are in common with some of the other piles, but only if you feel drawn to them. Otherwise, you're going to get all the messages you need from this reading. And yeah, the bull in the china shop theme here. People are impressed by how powerful you are, but I feel like sometimes you could be more diplomatic, is all I'm going to say. You also have this repeated here with the battle wagon, which is the chariot, and the Two of Swords underneath. So it kind of makes me think that you're the kind of person that, as much as you try, I feel like you generally try to really ponder the pros and cons, like weigh the pros and cons of a situation before throwing yourself headfirst into something. But yet sometimes impulsiveness gets the best of you. You definitely have a great capacity for destruction. I feel like some of you could be vengeful, to be honest. I realize that up until this point it may sound a little bit negative, but bear in mind that this is about what makes you unforgettable, all right? So I feel like I feel like maybe some of you, the reason you're unforgettable is because you've left a mark on others. I don't want to sound like you're a horrible person or anything like that, because it happens. People make mistakes. People can hurt others without even realizing it. Can I just say that if you have, had conflicts with anyone, the enemies will definitely remember you. They will definitely remember your sting. Like you have a very strong impact emotionally on other people. And I feel like other people just see you as someone who like can basically destroy everything in your path to get everything that you want. This is why I said I wouldn't be surprised if some of you had placements in Ardra or Purva Bhadrapada, maybe. I'm sorry about the police alarm or whatever it is. But with respect to what people find, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you have strong Mars energy. I'm going to see what comes through with the astrological notes. But I also getting strong Aquarius. Like I said, Aquarius could also be Purva Bhadrapada, but it could also be Dhanishta or Satabhishak Nakshatra. In any case, with the King of Swords coming out twice, people see you as someone who's generally very self-possessed and in control. Someone who likes to be in control. But like I said, sometimes your impulsiveness, your passions get the best of you. So you could lose your temper, for instance, and people remember you when you lose your temper. I also find it very, like I said, so it's interesting because you have the Magician and the Tower underneath. So the way that I would read this is that trying not to be negative. But look, I don't feel like it's a negative thing. I think it's, you could use your negative emotions to create. And I feel like this could be, for instance, if you have gone through difficult situations, conflicts, maybe even scandals, or, being scapegoated, or have had open conflicts with someone. People admire the fact that you were able to use bad experiences in your life and turn them into something positive. So see how this resonates, because again, this would mean that the people around you who think like this know you a little bit. So they may know a thing or two about your life experience. But I feel like you come across generally as someone who has the capacity for destruction, like a great deal of energy and a great deal of power. Yeah. And on the negative side, sometimes you could come across as someone who loses their temper and their control. But I feel like this is precisely because you are someone who's very focused on control. This really gives me very strong Ardra placements, by the way. So even if Ardra doesn't come out in the nakshatras, this is pretty much a very strong archetype of Ardra here coming through the cards. Won't get too much into astrology, but Ardra is connected to the god of destruction, to Rudra in Vedic astrology, and it is associated with the wolf, it's associated with nature, and it's also associated to a large extent with traumatic events, and destruction in general in all forms. But it's also, on the other hand, being ruled by Rahu, just like Aquarius, is very much associated with rational thinking and the desire to be in control of your emotions. Even though Ardra in itself is a nakshatra associated with a very rich inner landscape of emotions, many of which are negative and very intense, like anger and vengefulness and just hurt feelings and all that, right? Ardra is also sometimes called the howler, because it's connected to crying, wailing intensely. This is also why it's potentially connected to traumas. In any case, you could be someone who kind of has big mood swings. You're, in the eyes of others. Like, if people especially have seen you express strong emotions, they definitely will not forget it, like I said. Aside from that, though, I think people see you as someone who is a very hard worker, someone who is very passionate, and someone who is handling multiple activities at the same time. So you could be someone who maybe is studying and going to university and working, or you could have multiple jobs. So I feel like people are impressed by your ability to juggle multiple activities at the same time, and impressed by your ability to be resourceful and manage your time, manage your interests, and like basically find time for everything that you are interested in. People also with the Two of Cups and the Hierophant, I mean, I have to say it, I feel like a lot of people honestly see you as a bit of marriage material here. I feel like many of people might project their romantic fantasies on you with the Two of Cups and the High Priest. Even if that is not the case, but I think it is for most of you, I think it's about the fact that you come across as very fair, very wise, and you know how to relate to people. Like, for instance, if you address an audience, you can make people feel like you're talking to every one of them in the audience, like you're having a, one-to-one conversation with each and every one of them. I feel like people also see you as someone who has the ability to be a teacher, a leader, especially when it comes to intellectual topics. They definitely see you as very focused on fairness. Did I mention that? I think I did. So very focused on fairness. And you could also have Libra placements, wouldn't be surprised. Focused on fairness and balance, and sometimes you might really spend too much time deliberating, being like, should I stay or should I go? So this is why I feel like there's so much paradoxical energy here in this spread, because there's a repeated theme of like, you could be someone who's endlessly pondering pros and cons, but then on the other hand, you could have moments where you just lose your temper and you throw yourself headfirst into whatever it is you want to do. And yeah, but people admire overall your discipline, your perseverance. They admire your passion as well, and your power, like your capacity for destruction, to be fair. And not just destruction, but they also admire the fact that you can handle crisis situations. I feel like people look at you as someone who could restore balance in times of chaos. All right, so this is pretty much what I see through the cards. let me get some astrological notes. Spirit, tell me about pile number 4. The people who chose the Milky Quartz. What do people find unforgettable about them? What do people find unforgettable about pile number 4? The people who chose the Milky Quartz crystal. Tell me, Spirit, what do people find unforgettable? All right. We have Jupiter, ideals and magnitude. We have opposition, tension and opposites. Yeah, that makes sense with the Two of Cups and the Two of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So it's a bit of Libra energy. We also have 9th house, learning and faith, explains the Hierophant. We have Mars and we have Taurus. Okay, Taurus, the sensual. All right, so Mars can explain the Tower coming through. Yeah, the Chariot. I did say that I wouldn't be surprised if you have Mars prominently. Also, we have the number 9 here, which is connected to Mars in numerology. And yeah, so the Mars energy would definitely show that you come across as very brave, very assertive. Your physical body could stand out. Some of you could be very focused on things like combat, weapons. Maybe you have even been involved in the police, military. If not, you just look like someone who can handle crisis situations. So this is a strong confirmation of that. And with the 9th house, learning and faith, I think most people admire your intellect, your knowledge, your wisdom, also with Jupiter. So there's a lot of Jupiter energy here. Yeah, you come across as someone who could be very good at teaching, sharing wisdom, but also very fair-minded, optimistic, able to grasp complex intellectual topics. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of you here had higher education. We also have the opposition, which, like I said, to me, it's kind of Libra energy. It just shows that you're able to function well in one-to-one situations. And I feel like you have the ability to make people feel special, to be honest, you know, especially in one-to-one situations, but even when you address a crowd. And also with Taurus here, you definitely come across as someone who is attractive, above average. So you could come across as someone who has a nice face, a nice voice. Your voice especially could stand out. Also, your physical body. You could come across as pretty solid, sturdy, healthy looking. Even if you are towards the plump side, people find that attractive about you. And your stubbornness and willpower is like standing out. Definitely. Okay, let me get some other indicators. Let me get the Astro Dice. Spirit, tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? Okay. So we have Ketu here. This is the co-ruler of Scorpio. We have number 12, which is, well, interestingly, number 12 is ruled by Jupiter, but it's also connected to the 12th house. And we have Cancer. Okay. So you come across as pretty sensitive, introverted. Yeah, the Ketu shows instinctive, intuitive energy. And Cancer shows strong emotions. Also, 12th house can show that you have a very sharp intuition. All right, this is a bit TMI, but I feel like a lot of people are fantasizing romantically and erotically about you. Because the 12th house is the house of bedroom pleasures in Vedic astrology. And it's also things that are hidden, you know. So I feel like people see you as a very mysterious individual. Also with the Cancer, I feel you come across as a homebody. And also with the Cancer, it's like people remember your gentleness, your nurturing side, the fact that you make them feel comforted and almost at home in a way, like they feel comfortable around you. But also with the Ketu, there could be some touch of otherworldliness about you. And a lot of spiritual knowledge and intuition. You could also be good at research, like Yeah, but I feel like people remember your intuitive insights, and they remember the energy. Like there's something ethereal about your energy. Ethereal, but at the same time instinctive. All right. So give me some charms here, Spirit. Tell me about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? All right. So we have the mountains here, which makes me think of, well, Jupiter, Sagittarius, because 9th house, Jupiter connected to Sagittarius. So this just shows that you could be someone who's very outdoorsy, someone who's adventurous. People like that about you. See how it resonates. This is really specific, but some of you could be into mountain climbing or something, or climbing in general, and that is something that people remember about you. But overall, I feel like this has to do with sense of adventure, basically, and loving nature as well. So we also have a feather here. Makes me think of light as a feather, stiff as a board. Honestly, that's the first thing that got to my mind right now, which is from the craft. So I would take this as a confirmation of the K2 energy, that there's something otherworldly about you, maybe potentially mystical. You could be into witchcraft and stuff. That's very specific, obviously not for everyone. But if you are, that's definitely something that people notice, remember about you. We also have the scissors here, which makes me think of someone who's not afraid to burn bridges, honestly, to cut ties with people that they don't like and, I don't know, for some reason have pissed them off. I potentially that you might have Critica placements. I'm gonna see if that shows up. But this makes me think also of precision. Like you could be someone who's very sharp-witted. You're gonna have a sharp tongue as well. Yeah, you could hurt people's feelings, to be honest. Like I said, if you ever offended someone or had an argument with someone, they will remember the cuts. Okay. We have this bow, which makes me think of presence. This could explain the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like you come across as someone who maybe is well off, or otherwise you just have a sense of style that makes you look pretty lush and comfortable financially. So people could remember just the way that you dress, the way you carry yourself, could be. But if not, this just really, I don't know, like some people could see you as a gift from God, all right? Especially the people who are projecting on you romantically and sexually. Okay, but it could also be that some of you could come across as very prim and proper, like you maybe dress in a way that is simple and classical, and people remember that about you. And there's the butterfly, which has to do with transformation as far as I would look at it. So this could be that people just see you as pretty. I mean, butterflies are known for their beauty, for their kind of a magical quality. I mean, you do have the magician. Hello. So yeah, it could just show that you come across as charismatic, you attract attention. But I think that some people can also see you as pretty sensitive, and they remember your sensitivity. You also have the hand, which makes me think that your hands might be standing out. There could also be something traditional about the way you dress, the way you portray yourself, that is standing out. Like maybe you have specific tattoos or something ethnic about the way that you carry yourself. And we also have these leaves, which makes me think of eucalyptus leaves. Honestly, the first thing it makes me think of is koala bears. So I don't know, maybe you're cute and cuddly for some of you. People feel like cuddling with you when they see you. We also have a little heart. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me because hello, the first card that came out for you is the Two of Cups. So I feel like people might fall in love with you at first sight, honestly. There's something very cutesy about you. I'm gonna see what else is gonna come through. All right, tell me, Spirit, about pile number 4. What makes them unforgettable in the eyes of others? What makes pile number 4 unforgettable in the eyes of others? tell me, Spirit, what makes pile number 4? This doesn't feel right. All right, let's see. So we have Aquarius. Not surprising, because we do have the King of Swords coming out twice. Strong confirmation. We have Rahu as well. Okay, the North Node, which is the co-ruler of Aquarius, basically. And we have Pisces. All right, the dreaminess, the Jupiter energy, the faith. We also have Jupiter again, so you're very Jupiterian, pile number 4. Okay, and we have the moon. Okay, so confirmation of the Cancer energy. With Jupiter, the moon, you could have these planets very prominently placed. Maybe you could have placements in the nakshatras of Jupiter or the moon, like Punarvasu, Purvabhadrapada, Vishaka. Or with the moon, you could have Rohini, Shravana. I forgot what the third one is. Hasta, yeah. But, you know, it doesn't have to be. In any case, I'm going to break down the archetypes in a bit. We have Ashwini, which is ruled by Ketu, so more Ketu energy. We have Uttarashadha, which is ruled by the sun. We have Vishaka, okay, so bingo, confirmation. We have Ashlesha, all right, falling in Cancer, ruled by Mercury. So, all right, let me see what other messages I can see. But before I continue, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. And also click on the notifications bell if you want to see when I will post a new tarot reading. Thank you. So the things that I'm seeing here, first of all, your face is really standing out. Many of you could tend towards a fairer complexion. Compared to with respect to the genetic inheritance that you have. So I can see also with Rahu that many of you could be coming from mixed backgrounds, like mixed ethnicities, genetic backgrounds, maybe even mixed race. So, and I also think that with Jupiter and the moon, you could be tending towards a fair complexion. So if this is standing out for you, actually irrespective of what your complexion is and what your appearance is, I think the fact that you have an exotic look about you is standing out. Could be something about your actual physical features, or it could be your style, the way you present yourself. Like I said, also, you might have something ethnic about your appearance, your fashion sense, maybe tattoos that have a significance. And also, you definitely come across as someone who's non-conforming, an individualist. You could also come across as a bit aloof. And basically what people notice is the fact that you're very much a free-spirited individual. All right. And basically, you also kind of come across as sometimes a bit of a genius. Like, with all this Aquarius Rahu energy, you probably come across as someone who has very original ideas. Maybe an original vision. You also have the Magician. So I think people look at you and they think you're someone who can just achieve whatever you set your mind to. But there's also this tendency to be chaotic sometimes. I feel like you might thrive in chaos, actually. And this is something that people admire about you. Again, if this is someone that you have, like for instance, if this is a person that you have gone through painful situations with, they will remember how you handled yourself. They will remember the fact that you made them feel safe and that you helped them overcome things, for instance. We have the moon, so people remember the fact that you have strong emotions. So this is kind of a confirmation of what I said with the Tower. The moon is very much about emotions. It's waxing and waning. Sometimes you could also be a bit moody. And yeah, people, like I said, they remember your emotional states. They could remember your moodiness. They definitely remember your face, like I said. Your chest area could really stand out as well. Jupiter makes your legs stand out, especially. There could also be something about your height that stands out either way, whether it's like lower or higher, anywhere in between. But I feel like for many of you, you can be tall. So if you are tall, that is definitely something that stands out and that people remember about you. You also have Ashlesha. So yeah, this is a confirmation of what I said with the bed pleasures, all right? So Ashlesha is a nakshatra that is very seductive, and it's connected to hypnosis to some extent as well. A lot of like very seductive people throughout history have had prominent Ashlesha placements, like Marilyn Monroe had ascendant in Ashlesha. Lana Del Rey has moon in Ashlesha. I'm pretty sure Megan Fox, I don't know if she has moon in Ashlesha in her natal chart, but she has it in the divisional chart. So in any case, doesn't really matter. But Ashlesha is known for its ability to be seductive. So people remember your energy, they remember your charisma, and it's irrespective of your actual physical features. Although in many cases, I wouldn't be surprised if you have very hypnotic eyes and if you have a very graceful body or the way that you move yourself. If you are good, for instance, at dancing, or if you take dancing, like there could be something about you, the way you move your body, that makes people very hypnotized, really attracted to you. So they can sense that there's a sensuality there. And that's something that stands out. And then there's the Ashwini, which shows this very kind of strong leadership ability. Ashwini and Uttarashadha, to me, are very strong confirmations for the Hierophant. So people see you as someone who has the ability to touch a large group of people. Like, you could have a very charismatic way of expressing yourself. You could be a very strong speaker, strong public speaker, maybe. So this is something that people remember about you. And also your teachings, like especially if you have something to say on religious topics or philosophy, anything that has to do with like higher knowledge, basically, and having like a broad overview of the world. This is real specific, but like some of you could like horses, and if that's the thing, it's like people remember that about you. And you might also like snakes, like some of you. Like, for instance, if you're a woman and you wear jewelry in the shape of snakes, people will really remember that. Even if you're a man, because like nowadays a lot of men wear jewelry. Also with Vishaka, what stands out is your intensity and your competitiveness as well as your physical body. Your physical body as well. This is real specific, but it really came to my mind, so I have to say it. We also have Rahu and Vishaka. Like, both of these indicators are kind of connected to substance abuse. So, especially alcohol. So I'm just going to say it, like, maybe there's something about alcohol. I don't know. Maybe people remember you, especially when alcohol is involved. Or like, I hope for most of you, this is not about you having an addiction. But it could also be that maybe people have an eye on you more than for most. Like, if they see you with a glass of something, a wine or something, they will immediately think that, oh, this person might have a drinking problem. Like they might think that. But also with Vishaka, it's not just about alcohol. It's like you could have something about self-indulgence, so there could be just, it makes me think of the Nine of Pentacles. I think people think that you come from a good background financially, irrespective of whether this is the truth or not. People just assume that you have a comfortable situation in life and where you can just afford to, let loose and have fun a little bit. You could also have particularly penetrating eyes. All right. So this is pretty much what I see for you, pile number 4, and I hope you have enjoyed it. I definitely have a lot of strong messages and confirmations, and of course, I remind you once again, if you have liked it, please subscribe, click on the notifications bell, comment in the comment section if you want to share any feedback or if you have ideas for future topics that you would like me to cover, because this topic was also recommended by a viewer. And if you are willing or interested in supporting my channel further, you can click on the join button and become a member in exchange for some perks, which are detailed when you click on the join button. And if you're interested in a private reading with me, you can check the video description. I will leave my contact information there. You can email me for a list of reading options with prices. And I've also left a link in the video description to reviews I have gotten for private readings before if you're curious to see them. I've also posted the link to my astrology channel if you're curious to find out more about it. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology, but I also have a lot of insights in tropical astrology. I have more than 20 years of experience of reading charts in both systems, but for the past 10 years or so, I've mainly focused on Vedic, so that's what I mainly talk about on my channel. And I also use the sidereal zodiac. So yeah, but if you're curious to find out more about it, you can click on it, check it out, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye!